The adult website said 18, and so therefore, at the end of the conversation, they said they were 13, and I got arrested.
So I'm having trouble a little bit, so you're gonna have to help me understand. So this persona, I understand it was not an actual person, told you they were 14 and you still went there?
I was already there doing my laundry.
People are facing charges tonight following an undercover operation by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. But rather than this operation targeted people online, actively trying to get children to meet and engage in sexual conduct.
I find it to be fascinating to see the second portion after the sting operation. You know, when I see this, I think Chris Hansen, and now I think fried pickles. If you know, you know. And it's interesting because they all kind of have the same thing. You've seen one catch, you've seen them all. I didn't know her age. It's like, sure, buddy. Sure, you didn't. Now, what's interesting about this case, it's a first for us on this channel, is the padded white jacket. And that's because he took a plea of not being all there, but it didn't help him. They still sent him to prison, and prison for a long time. His full date, he's got about 10 years running on this parole hearing. If he were to get, he can get released now, or I think it's 2034 is his soonest date. So he's hoping to get paroled. But they said, sure, you can say that you're not all there, but you're just going to get this nice little white padded jacket, and then you're going to go do some hard time in prison. So anyways, let's go jump in and see the outcome.
Just that the parole, or not Mr. Apple didn't do a childhood directive.
Are you talking about the sex offender treatment memo?
No,
Okay.
no, it's when I went to jail,
Okay.
and they did where I went to go see the parole guy,
Like,
APMP.
okay.
He made me fill out a packet, and they didn't do the advanced childhood.
Oh, are you talking about your ACEs?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you filled that out as part of your board packet, right? Do you remember that? Okay. Okay, but I appreciate you knowing that, okay?
Yes.
So just to tell you how today's gonna go, I'm gonna go over procedurally how we got to this hearing. I'm going to go over a description of your offense. The longer version was in your pre-sentence investigation, your blue disclosure packet. I'm just gonna go for a condensed version. I'm asking for any comments. We'll go over the guilty mentally ill report from Dr. Mom. We'll go over that sex offender treatment memo, and any background questions I have, if you were released, what that would look like. And then at the end of the hearing, if you have further questions, comments, or things that we didn't discuss that you would like to, please do so at that time, okay?
Okay.
So it looks like a special attention happened in January of 2021. The board continued the original hearing till now with a sex offender treatment memo and a guilty and mentally ill report. They noted prior to this hearing that you were expected to comply with your case action plan and complete sex offender treatment. And a special attention in June of 2021, it was noted that you completed your high school diploma on June 1st, 2021. Is that procedurally correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. In regards to your offense, I show case number 191401452. I show on May 14, 2019, an adult male using an online texting app contacted an agent with the Utah Attorney General's office, whom he thought was a 13-year-old female. The adult was Mr. Herring. He wanted to engage in sexual assault of the child. He was spotted on his way to the meeting place and taken into custody. Is that correct, sir?
Not all of it.
But it's not correct.
I was doing my laundry at the time, and the adult website said 18, and so therefore, at the end of the conversation, they said they were 13, and I got arrested.
So I'm having trouble a little bit, so you're going to have to help me understand. So this persona, I understand it was not an actual person, told you they were 14 and you still went there?
I was already there doing my laundry.
So you're saying that you did not know that this persona was underage?
No, only at the end did I understand that. And I pled guilty with the mental illness because I was forced into the plea deal because I was on psychotropic medications at the time.
I'm making notes of everything we're talking about. Sorry, I'm listening. Okay, I just want you to know in case I stop talking. So are you saying the meeting place was a laundry place?
Yes,
Sir, I would note you have juvenile sex offenses, right?
I'd like the juvenile to not be in this at all because I was forced into taking a guilty plea due to my foster parents. My foster parents said if I didn't take a guilty plea, they would beat the crap out of me. Excuse my language.
It's okay. So are you saying you have never committed a sex offense? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I even took a lie detector test and it came up that I was telling the truth.
Sir, it's hard, and I'm trying to reconcile this, right? Okay, because
Mhm.
all I have is the report, so I want to hear what you have to say. But it's hard for me to reconcile how the Attorney General's office is, which is obviously what, right, their job is to catch people who are trying to do this and not actually have children, right? That they wouldn't tell you that they wouldn't state their age from the beginning. I'm having
They
trouble.
didn't.
Okay. So do you think you have any risks?
No, I'm normally like, I get with 40 or 50-year-olds, older women. My ex-wife was 10 years older than me.
So so are you saying you have no risk in regards to sex offenses?
No, none at all.
All right, sir, I want to make sure I get to the guilty mentally ill report. But do you remember meeting with Dr. Mom?
Yeah, on several occasions. First meeting was over in the jail where she did a psych eval. Second meeting was here.
And what did you think of her reports?
Um, they were honest.
Okay, and I'm going to go over them. Once again, I have only her report, and I want to hear what you have to say, okay?
Mhm.
So, she noted that you reported that your hallucinations are under control, but that you still hear voices, but you don't follow what they say. Do you think that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been dealing with this since age 8.
The hallucinations, is that what you
Yes.
said? Okay.
I've been dealing with my psyche since I was 8.
And when you say you don't listen to what they have to say, what are some things that they have to say?
Mm, to kill those who hurt me. Sometimes they say to punish myself for what my dad. He was I don't know, I've never met him, but what I heard, he was a drug dealer and he was in Draper, Utah back in 85.
And I appreciate you talking about some of this stuff. I realize I'm not asking easy questions.
No.
And so I appreciate your insight. Okay. In the risk assessment section, which talks about ideation,
Mhm.
it noted that you had thoughts of killing someone. Do you think that that's accurate?
Yeah, because of the fact that he beat on my niece and nephew and beat on my sister to a point where she ended up in the hospital. I
Do you
think
have contact with this individual?
not at the moment, no. But I do know where his house used to be. I heard he's trying to get custody of my niece and nephews.
I mean, I'm assuming you probably understand where I'm concerned in that regard, right? Because you're
It's-
saying I know where he lives. You're
It's the
saying I know-
one reason why I don't want to stick in Utah. Or I don't want to be here in Utah at all. Even though I'm gonna have to for like a year to get my social security back on, to get my driver's license back. I just want to get out of Utah. I don't want to deal with my family's problems. I don't want to be dragged back into it. I don't want to have them say, hey, help me out with money and do this for me and do that for me. They're abusive, they're neglectful, and my mom tried drowning me at 2.
I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't in any way want to minimize what you're saying you've been through. But I am concerned that you're talking about people that upset you, that you react or that you have certain emotions or feelings.
I
I'm
try,
assuming that could happen again no matter where you live, right?
no, I try to minimize my feelings and minimize my emotions to where it doesn't bother me at all. Where I don't have to deal with that.
Okay.
The places where I want to go to doesn't have my family at all.
So this is being live streamed. I don't want you to give me an address, but where are you thinking of moving?
Seattle, Washington. I got
Any in particular reason why there?
uh a lot of jobs are out there, fishing jobs, boating jobs. I don't know, there's like a lot of mountains. I like the mountains.
Okay. And sir, I would know if you're paroled, I don't know what the board's gonna do. I'm a hearing officer. What I do is make recommendations. The board decides.
Oh.
If you do want to move, you have to apply for what's called an interstate compact. Okay, there's a fee, there's a process. of
Yeah,
looking
that's
to-
why I'm planning on staying here for like a year,
So you plan on,
hopefully in Ogden.
so do you see that year as being a problem?
No. I'm
And
not
why
even-
not?
Because I'm not gonna contact them at all. They're basically non-existent to my life. They don't come see me, they don't write to me. So as long as as long as they stay away from me, I stay away from them.
Do you think you have an anger issue?
I've dealt with my anger issue a lot. I've
How have you
tried
dealt with it?
listening to music, MRTs. Back when I was in APNP, I did MRT.
And what did you gain from that?
Um, that a lot of my anger and a lot of my resentment come from my family. And that's why I try and stay away from them. I try and distance myself from them.
She provided some diagnoses and recommendations. What'd you think of those?
Mm, I don't mind the recommendations. I like the recommendations. I mean, I know that sometimes I need a lot more help than what I am given in prison.
Is that like, what does that look like to you? Does that mean therapy? Does that mean?
Well, I like therapy. They don't have as much therapy in here as I would out there. Like I go to mental health a lot to help me cope with my problems, talk to therapists, stuff like that.
Okay.
whenever I had a suicidal ideation, is what they called it, I ended up in the psychiatric ward.
When was that?
Um, let's see. 6 to 7 years ago.
Okay.
I also ended up in the psych hall here too.
When was that?
When they kicked me out of Green for psych or for not being stabilized.
So I show you were kicked out of the sex offender program on 2 different times, in April this
last-
year and then in August.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the sex offender treatment memo. What did you think of that assessment?
I haven't really read into it much. I mean, it just says not completed.
Do you think you need it?
I think I need something like it, but not programming.
Can you expand on what you mean by that for me? Because I'm not sure I understand.
How could I put it? Back when I was a juvenile, I had sex offender treatment because of I ended up in a psych hall and yeah. And so I went to what was it? Layton, Utah. Up by Layton, there's a mental health place up there that does treatment for sex offenders. And so they don't have programming, but they have treatment. So treatment is a good thing, and I get irritated and frustrated with programming because they have the TC environment.
And once again, I'm just trying to clarify in my mind because you're saying you have no risks, you have no sex offenses, but you need sex offender treatment.
I don't need sex offender treatment, but if I have to do it, I will.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I will make note that to the board that that's what you said, sir. All right, sir. And then I do show a lot of disciplinaries. You want to say anything about those discipline? I show a 2022 for fighting, and then I show a couple this year for disorderly conducts.
2022. When was that? 2022.
April 2022. If you
April 2022. I think I put him in a headlock and I got that one dismissed.
you put someone in a headlock, but you got it dismissed, I guess I'm confused.
Okay. They were beating up on me. I decided to put them in a headlock instead of beating on them.
So you're saying you were defending yourself?
Yes, I was defending myself. And I put him in a headlock until the cops got there.
Okay. And then what about the ones from this year? The disorderly conduct?
This year, somebody was pissing me off and I decided to flip their tray instead of going after them. He was getting in my face and I was trying to back up and I literally flipped his tray to back up.
Do you think that that's an appropriate reaction or how you react today?
It's not a appropriate reaction, but I tried to handle myself to where I could manage my anger.
Okay.
And when somebody corners me in a corner, it's like a dog. You corner them in a corner, what are they gonna do? They're gonna bite you. I try to not lash out in a violent way.
All right, sir. Those are all of my questions. From here, I'm a hearing officer. I make recommendations. The board ultimately decides. They're made up of 5 members. 3 of them have to come to one decision. That's the decision of the board. You should get that in writing within 2 to 4 weeks. Anyone listening to this hearing via video can go to bop.utah.gov. As soon as we have the decision, we post it on our website. It still takes some time. It's not immediate. But someone can look that decision up and tell you what it is while you're waiting for your written decision. I note your guidelines, sir, is 77 months or October 14th, 2025.
Mhm.
Best way to think of that is a suggestion. The CCJJ issues them. They're based on a number of factors, obviously one of them being your offenses, but the board decides. So they can go below that date, they can go above that date, they can do the same date, they decide. And the expiration of your sentence, meaning the longest time the board could have jurisdiction over you, assuming no other offenses, is May 14th, 2034.
Okay. Okay, and Utah they denied parole, and I know it might not be surprising if this is the first time you're seeing a Utah parole hearing. You would think, how is it possible they would grant? But we have seen the craziest things. They are going to give him a rehearing on 1 of 2027, so he's got a couple more years to try to figure it out. And I don't know about you, but I was scared. I was scared for my favorite parole board interviewer. We call her Mama Bear because she can protect the survivors. She really can throw down, and she, she's got the patience of a preschool teacher. But I must have been projecting because I felt afraid for her. I mean, the guy in the suit and his facial expressions and this look. And Sir Richard provided like the list of crimes, and it doesn't have, it's not like a terribly long list. There are things in there that are concerning, though, and I don't know how much time he was out on parole when he finally caught his most recent charge, but I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. So he has it's over here in the spreadsheet, 2015 aggravated arson. So aggravated part, that sounds scary. Yeah, that's scary. Okay. I don't know what happened there, but scary. 123 2015 trespassing. That was only 8 days before the arson. 6/19 2014 aggravated assault. And then he has something about use of a roadway by pedestrians. So I don't know how much time he did for the arson, and then maybe he got out and did this thing. And yeah, I don't believe him for 1 second about not knowing the child's age. We've seen these sting operations 1,000 times. All I could think about was Chris Hansen and PPP fried pickles, Alex Rosen. So you've seen one, you've seen them all. That's the crazy thing about these catches. And if the guy's angry, he's really angry. He's talking about his bitter life. He said things that his mother trying to drown him, and all these different things that you would feel empathy. You would feel terrible for him, and maybe you can still feel empathy for him, and that that broke him. He's broken. He's a broken man. But I think this is another side that we saw parole hearing. I guess if you take a plea and said that you're loco, that you're still going to serve prison time. You'll just get a white padded jacket. We never seen that before, and you're still going to do hard time. You're not getting away with anything scot easy. It's not doing a guilty plea by being loco is I don't know. There must be a benefit to do it, or you wouldn't do it. But it don't look fun. And anyways, we're going to jump in now to another hearing. What's disturbing about this hearing is kind of uneventful, but what's disturbing about it, as Sir Richard pointed out, and that's why we're covering it, is that the DA, they must have felt the victim, this woman who he brutalized, just doesn't matter that much because the DA didn't even prosecute it to the fullest. They don't care. There's no victim. And you'll see this a lot in Utah when they feel the victim doesn't have a voice or is a quiet voice. They just like to make things go away. And anyways, we'll jump into that. So let's go.
This is the time and place set for a rescission hearing for Martin Cole.
ده القرار بتاعك.
Offender number
يعني يقوله لك.
Offender number 206073. Is that you, sir?
Yes.
هو ده الرقم بتاعك. Yes.
I'm Melissa Stapley. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I'll be conducting your hearing today.
هي اسمها ميليسا، وهي في البتاعة بتاعتك النهارده، في كورتي ده النهارده، وهتقول لك اللي هي بتاع القرارات بتاعتهم بتاعت المحكمة النهارده.
كويس.
I'm going to be taking testimony from you, so I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please?
هي هتقعد تسألك فأنت هترفع إيدك.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
أنت عارف إن الحاجات دي اللي هيسألها لك النهاردة حقيقية؟
أيوة.
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, did you receive 7 days written notification of this hearing and a copy of your blue packet?
وصل لك رسالة إن النهاردة عندك hearing وجالك كده جواب يعني فيه الحاجات دي؟
أيوة.
Yes.
You can put your hand down.
يا نزل إيدك.
Everything in your blue packet is a copy of what the board is going to use in part to make their decision today.
يعني كل الحاجات اللي وصلت لك في الجواب اللي جالك ده هيتكلموا عليها بحيث إن يشوفوا القرار بتاعهم النهاردة.
I'm going to go ahead and summarize what occurred up to this point in regards to your status with the board.
هتلخص الحاجات اللي هي المكتوبة النهاردة اللي هي جت لك.
You were scheduled to parole April 22nd, 2025, if you completed sex offender treatment.
أنت كملت اللي هي السكس أوفندر تريتمنت دي المعالجة.
You're currently in sex offender treatment and sex offender treatment groups with a completion date of May 2025.
يعني أنت لسه في طريقة المعالجة بتاعت السكس دي وهي ماي 2025 يعني هتكمل لغاية ماي 2025.
أيوة.
The Department of Corrections notified the board that you would not complete treatment in time for your release date.
يعني أنت هم إنهم وصل لهم إن أنت ما كملتش المعادلة ما كملتش لسه المعالجة.
So that's the reason for this hearing today.
ليه؟ عشان كده هو النهاردة السبب إن أنت موجود النهاردة في المحكمة.
Is there anything that you want to add or clarify about what I just told you?
في أي حاجة محتاج إن أنت تضيفها تقولها لهم أو إن أنت حاجة مثلا يوضحها لك أكتر؟
أيوة بس قول ليها أنا ممكن بتكلم بالإنجليزي حبة because هسه دي أنا مش بسمع العربية بتاعنا ولكن أنا ممكن بتكلم من الإنجليش معايا لو هي دايرة.
يعني أنت عاوز تتكلم إنجليزي معاها عادي وتسمع
أيوة.
عادي لو في زنقة أنا أتكلم؟
ايوه عشان انا مش عارف لو تسمعني في العربيه السودانيه.
طيب حاضر. Yeah, she would like to talk with you by English and hear you by English because sometimes the Sudanese is different. And if he's stuck, I will jump on and translate.
Okay. Mr. Cole, if that's okay with you, yes, you can tell me in English.
Yeah, if that's okay with you لو هو ده خلاص اوكي معاك مظبوط اتكلم بالانجليزي واسمعها ولو انت وقفت انا هتكلم.
ايوه كويسه.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So is there anything that you want to add about the reason you're here and that your date was rescinded?
Well, because I understanding is because I'm not going to be finished by the date that you guys already given me, and because I have contingency to complete the program, right? That's
Right.
why I've been rescheduled to come in and see further notes from you guys.
Okay. Do you know when you're going to graduate?
Well, I believe it's going to be ending of May.
Okay.
But they say when I came in, the official date that we signed it was June 2nd.
Okay.
That was the official graduation, but sometime it could be earlier, like the ending of May.
Got it. Okay. So let me just ask you real quick. What are your plans for parole?
My plan for parole, I already talked to my case manager that I would like to go to a halfway house, and
Okay.
I want to go to halfway house there and just start there, and start working from there, and a little bit by little bit until I can get better in a society where I can feel more stable and comfortable, that I have enough money saved to get in a job, an apartment that I can live in. But I also do, and if that doesn't happen, I also have my grandma that she's willing to take me to live in with her and to stay with her. But I just told her that I prefer to start out with a halfway house. I want to start on my own there.
Okay. And where does your grandmother live?
She lives in Murray. That's in
Okay.
Salt Lake.
And what type of work do you plan on finding?
So as for right now, I've been planning, well, this is the thing I've been learning here. We have this class that is a trucking company thing that I'm willing to start when I get out. But before that, I'm going to plan on going to a JMH. It's a sanitation job that I was working in before.
Okay.
And they're okay with me coming back there to work. And so
So when you say trucking, you're going to eventually try to get your CDL?
yes, ma'am.
All right. All right.
And that'll probably take me about 2 years, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing the sanitation, but that's my future plan that I want to do, driving truck.
Okay. And if the board, which they most likely will, order sex offender treatment or at least aftercare, are you willing to participate in that in the community?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Okay. And then one other thing I just saw that jumped out at me, previously to your commitment to prison, you had been placed on probation 3 times. All of those ended up being unsuccessful. So what do you think you can do differently so you're not going to end up back here on a parole violation?
Definitely this time is before that is because I really didn't know ways to fix my emotional, my coping with my emotional feelings and stuff. And so now I'm learning the ways that if I'm feeling like, in a bad position, or if I'm feeling down or feeling lonely, or feeling that life is kind of getting rough, getting hard for me, is that I can reach out to families or a friend or, people that are healthy for me. Because before I was not in that road. I always thought I can just do it by myself, or I can just turn to alcohol or whatever, they can numb my feelings down. And so, and this is the thing that I want to do, and I've been doing it here with my community, my peers. And we can able to communicate our feelings and be vulnerable with one each other, that we can, see what is bothering me, and what's that I can do to help that emotion that I'm feeling with a healthier way than just turning to drugs or watching pornography. And so, yes.
Okay. Do you think that you're going to have any issues with drugs or alcohol at the time of release?
I'm right now, what I'm at right now, emotionally stable, because since I came in, when I went to prison, there was a lot of drugs going on and alcohol. And I refused to touch any of those because I turned to I didn't want to do those no more. And it's been about 3 years and I haven't touched any. So I feel I am capable of staying sober now.
Okay.
And if I can, and not if I'm going to have a healthier people in my life, that's what one thing I'm trying to do, and to not go back to my old friends or to the old places I used to hang in. And so I want to avoid all this thing and have a new people in my life, which is my grandma, my other brothers. And I'm going to go back to church and maybe I can build a new relationship with them over there, and I can continue to further with the new people in my life that are healthier and not using drugs.
Okay. Okay, sir. So, is there anything else that you want to tell me that we haven't discussed regarding your sex offender treatment completion, or any plans for release that we haven't discussed that I can send to the board?
Honestly, I think we cover everything that I feel that I need when I get out, So
Okay.
my first one is that I want to go to halfway house and start everything there with my own, to be independent for myself.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Okay, sir. So this is just a real short hearing. It's easy because you already know the reason why you're here, and you understand. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to submit what we discussed here today to the board, let them know the plans for release and that you have plans to complete sex offender treatment at the end of May, but the official date is June 2nd, but we understand that sometimes it could be sooner. In the next week or two, you should find out from the board their decision. Yeah, I'm sure it will include that contingency to complete complete sex offender treatment, and then you'll receive a new date. So do you have any questions about that?
I definitely don't. So I just want to say thank you guys, and I'm really, trying my best here and working to when I get out there, I want to have empathy and working to caring for people, right, and caring for also for myself. Those things that I didn't have. And this program actually have shown me those things about myself, and seeing my errors thinking the way I used to think before. And so I just want to say thank you guys for putting me in this program and to work better myself and to also have a better living with the society out there when I'm able to get out again. And I am
Okay.
sorry for my victim that I didn't have caring at the time when I did the crime that I did. I didn't have a feeling or caring for her, and I am sorry for that. And I'm really working that I do not ever commit any kind of crime like this to a person again. And so I am thankful for being in this program right now. Thank you. guys.
Okay. All right. Well, sir, that's it for this hearing. I wish you the best of luck, and just keep an eye on your mail, or your caseworker will bring over their decision in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Shukran, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Have a good day.
Okay. Shukran, Rhonda. Shukran.
Yeah,
Jazeera.
shukran, ربنا معاك. Yeah, thank you so much. My honor for having me with you.
Oh, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so they granted parole. They granted him 4 years into a 15-year sentence. And, this really was an uneventful hearing, but Sir Richard put it in the notes, and I can see why. And the reason is that while he was out on bond for this robbery, he went and sexually assaulted a woman who he had kidnapped and left on the side of the road naked. This was February 27, 2021. Here it is. 27-year-old man was booked in Tooele County Jail after a woman found naked in Grantsville told police he had kidnapped her, robbed her, and sexually assaulted her. Martin Cole was booked into jail Thursday on suspicion of 5-degree felonies. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. 2 alleged accomplices not named in the probable cause statement were jail and parole violations. On 5/18/2019, it was reported that the victim, that she was held against her will in a moving vehicle, and she was physically and sexually assaulted during the time she was in the vehicle. Probable cause statement says she was not free to leave the vehicle and was held physically in the vehicle. The victim reported that the vehicle never slowed enough for her to jump out. The victim told officers that while in the car, she was forced to disrobe, perform acts of a sexual nature. The clothing and other items were taken and not returned, the victim told officers. She was dropped off within Grantsville city limits naked on the side of the road. The victim had to walk to an area where she saw lights to call for help, the statement says. DNA was recovered from the victim and a warrant was planned to take a swab from the suspect, the statement said, and was found to match DNA later taken from Cole. Post Miranda, Cole invoked his rights to an attorney. It was suggested and approved that he be held without bail, due in part to the serious charge of extensive criminal history. Any extensive criminal history that he has, his record, just from looking at what Holly has dropped here, March 22nd, 2014, November 24, 2014, 2016, 2016, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020. Those are arrests. And it's, a nonchalant hearing where they just ran through the motions, don't even bring up the victim, and that's it. There you have it. But for those who wonder, when you hear in the news, wait a minute, this person got out and then they essayed a woman, how's that possible? You can come back to the parole hearing and see how possible it is.
The adult website said 18, and so therefore, at the end of the conversation, they said they were 13, and I got arrested.
So I'm having trouble a little bit, so you're going to have to help me understand. So this persona, I understand it was not an actual person, told you they were 14 and you still went there?
I was already there doing my laundry.